class. We're going to start with scene 1. Now in this scene we meet two characters for the very first time. We meet Antonio and we meet Sebastian. Do you know who these are? Do you remember in Act 1, Viola mentions that her twin brother is believed to be dead, and she bemoans the fact that they were separated at sea. And the captain reassures her that her brother is indeed alive. Well, that brother is Sebastian. And in this scene, which is scene 1 of Act 2, we meet Sebastian. And in the same way that Viola was saved by the captain, Sebastian is saved by Antonio. Now, even though the text does not give all the details, we, the audience, can assume that the scene opens after a little while of Sebastian having stayed at Antonio's house. Antonio has been nursing him to health, and now Sebastian is well enough and he is deciding to leave. Now, all along, he has never told Antonio his true identity. In fact, he gave Antonio a false name. You can understand why he would do that, yes? So he finally reveals that his name is Sebastian. So the dialogue between these two will demonstrate the gratitude that Sebastian feels now that he is to leave and he's getting ready to bid Antonio goodbye. You realize that they have formed quite a friendship, so much so that Antonio is really sad to see him leave. In fact, Antonio wants to know where he's headed and even wants to go with him, you see. But Sebastian tells him no, because Sebastian feels that his entire life has been one of ill luck, and he would not want that kind of fate to be cast upon the man who saved his life. Now, after looking at that scene, we moved to scene 2. And scene 2 is pretty much jumping from what we had originally read in Act 1. Remember that scene in Act 1 where Cesario, who is really Viola, Cesario comes to Countess Olivia's court, bringing all the words of adoration. Cesario is told that Countess Olivia does not want to see him. And Cesario says, well, guess what? I'm not leaving here. I'm going to camp out here until she decides to see me. So Countess Olivia is flabbergasted. She says, I can't understand his adamance. Let him in, let me see what he's about. And when he comes in, sure enough, he is so lyrical. Remember, I told you, students, that one of the sure ways to win a woman in Elizabethan times is to have words, to be very verbose. And so, by the time Cesario is to leave that encounter with Olivia, we find that Olivia is smitten. So, because Olivia in Act 1 wants to see Cesario again, she takes off one of her own rings from her finger, calls Malvolio and tells Malvolio that Cesario left that ring behind. She wants Malvolio to take the ring back to Cesario and let Cesario know that he should tell the Duke that she does not want his ring. You and I know that that is not the case. Yeah? The ring did not come from Duke Orsino. Cesario did not take a ring. Anyhow, so scene 2 opens now with Malvolio catching up with Cesario on the streets, yeah? So he stops Cesario and he says, hey, you, weren't you the one who came to see Countess Olivia? And he says, yes, that's me. Well, guess what? Countess Olivia does not want your Duke's ring. she says you're to take it back to him. Of course, Cesario has no clue what he's talking about because Cesario knows that he did not take a ring. But Cesario is very intelligent, you see. Cesario by then realizes that Countess Olivia has a thing for him. Countess Olivia has a thing for him. So Cesario, in what is called an aside, Cesario says to himself, Lord of mercy, imagine this. This poor woman is in love with me thinking that I am a man. And Cesario says, why is it that women must be made up like this? Poor souls, you know. Because you see, Cesario himself understands the very nature of women. Because Cesario is a woman. Because Cesario is Viola. Yeah? So, Cesario looks at the double dilemma that he now faces. He, or I don't know if I should say she, now faces. Because on one level, here we have Countess Olivia, deeply in love with him, when the him is no one but a she. And then on the other hand, Cesario, who is really Viola, admits that she has feelings for Duke Orsino. But because she is dressed as a man, she cannot tell Duke Orsino how she truly feels. Yeah? And so the scene pretty much is focused on the interaction between Malvolio and Cesario. And then when Malvolio leaves, Cesario, does some introspecting, just looking at the nature of women and the dilemma that now presents itself, and the scene ends there. Scene 3 now. Scene 3, we are taken to Countess Olivia's court all over again. And at Countess Olivia's court, we meet the two idiotic friends. The two idiotic friends, that would be, who are they? Yes, Countess Olivia's uncle and the uncle's friend, Sir Andrew Aitcheek. And as usual, whenever these two get together, they talk a lot of bull crap. Pretty much, a lot of bull crap. Yeah? So as you're reading, you will see how the very conversations between them, it is frivolous. But Shakespeare utilizes some intricate techniques when we look at the language. He utilizes pun especially. He utilizes even allusion. So as you're reading, make sure that you identify these. There is also the idea of the characters developing based on the three-step method. What is the three-step method? What the character says, what the character does, and what others say about the character. So you're going to be learning about Viola, for example, through the eyes of Sebastian. In the scene where we meet Sebastian, that would be in Act 2, Scene 1. When we meet Sebastian, what does he say of his sister? And what he says of his sister, how does that align itself with what we learn of his sister